Hey there, this is your girl Candace Stuff coming at you all the way live from a sunny South Florida. Actually, it's nighttime again, but it was sunny as I don't know what earlier. And when the sun was setting, it was totally in my face, which is why I waited to make this video. Anyway, we're in week 4 of the challenge. Actually, we're entering into week 5 of the challenge. And I can't believe that January is just about over. It's insane. And I can't believe that the challenge is halfway over. So, how did I do this week? Well, last week, if you recall, I was feeling kind of low. I was feeling kind of low because I had blown through my budget. Well, actually, I didn't blow through it, but I blew through the monthly budget, not the total budget for the challenge. And I had about, I don't know, $10 left, basically, to get me through the end of February. And I pondered this, and I actually read your comments. Some of you left me some wonderful comments on the video. And the bottom line is, I had unrealistic expectations in terms of how much money I would need to get through the challenge. When I said $50 for 2 months, I was thinking to myself, oh, but there are people who don't use any money at all, or there are people who set really low budgets or whatever. But these people have gardens. These people have, home canned goods. These people have cows in their freezers. They have deep freezers. They have pantries. They have chests, right, to draw from. I don't have any of that. I'm in a tiny apartment in an urban environment. So I decided to go ahead and give myself some grace and to set a more realistic budget. Instead of $50 for 2 months, I'm going to set a budget of $50 per month. So that would make me under budget. I know it sounds convenient, but the bottom line is that would make me under budget since I only spent like $41 for this month. And I haven't touched any budget for next month. And that would actually put me in a much better place. Because you see, when I made that budget for, I don't know, coffee creamer and, dairy and vegetables and fruits and things like that, I forgot that I drink bottled water. And just bottled water alone would blow that budget, right? I mean, if it was only $25 a month, bottled water plus dairy plus, anything I was missing out of the pantry or anything I needed to use the stuff in my pantry, it was just not realistic at all. And in fact, $50 is stretching it, but you know what? I know I can do it because I did it. I mean, I did it only spending $41 this first month. So I know there's 3 days left. I might run out and spend that $10 actually. But bottom line is, so the lesson I learned is to set realistic expectations for myself, right? And here's the other thing. Speaking of realistic expectations, I'm not used to cooking every day. I'm not used to not having any convenience foods or not eating out or anything like that. So I didn't think about how challenging it would be for me to cook all the time like I've been doing this month or whatever. And I also didn't think about if I have huge pots of food, even though I freeze some of it, am I going to get tired of eating it every single day? I decided though this week that the trick to success in this challenge is making food that's so good you don't mind eating it like several days in a row. I mean, that's so good you're like, challenge what? Challenge who? I don't know what you're talking about, but I need a moment with this chicken chili, with salsa verde. So let me tell you, that chicken that I made earlier in the week, the white chicken chili was so good. I ate that chili for like 5 days in a row and didn't even blink, okay? And that for the frittata that I made, the egg frittata, I ate that remember I had 6 servings. I ate that every morning with some buttered toast. Oh my goodness gracious. For 6 days in a row, and I was a happy child. Forget about being bored. I was happy, and I was sad when it ended, okay? So the trick to really being successful in this challenge is to make stuff that's so good you don't even blink, right? You want to eat it several days in a row, if you choose to do so. And if you don't want to eat it several days in a row, then freeze half of it so you can eat it later in the month or next month or whenever. So that's pretty much what happened here. I really, really enjoyed those foods. And then I went, and you'll see me cook. I made some chocolate buckwheat protein pancakes. And let me tell you, those things are delicious. I've been eating them every morning for breakfast. Once I ended the frittata eating. And I have been a happy child eating that. And I've also been a happy child eating a stir fry that I made. Now, you're gonna see in this video that I am particularly scatterbrained this week. I don't know. I mean, whenever I do legal work, I'm like an absent-minded professor, right? And everything, nothing else is important as the work that I'm doing. It's kind of crazy. So when I'm cooking, I'm rushing it and I'm forgetting things. But even though I rushed things and forgot things, I eventually remembered them. And the food came out so amazing, if I say so myself, because I'm eating it. So that I'm really happy with it, except for one failure. And you're gonna see that too. All right, so this week you're gonna see me cook for breakfast buckwheat chocolate blueberry pancakes. They were delicious. And that's coming up next. All right. All right, so now it's time to make some breakfast. And I'm gonna be making blueberry protein pancakes. And what gives these pancakes protein is the vital wheat gluten flour that I'm gonna be using. So in this bowl, I have, if you recall, I have all these weird flours that I need to use. 2 cups of this buckwheat flour that you see here. A cup and a quarter of the vital wheat gluten that you see here. I have 2 tablespoons of a sweetener of choice. I'm using again the Boca Sweet and that big old bag of allulose that, if you recall, I have and I have to use up. And let me see, baking powder and baking soda. So I'm gonna go ahead and whisk together all these flours. And also cacao powder, in case you're wondering what this brown stuff is. And I've been using cacao powder a lot lately. So I actually love it. It gives me that chocolate fix that I need without giving me like all the calories and stuff. And the sugar, the regular sugar that candy bars can give you. So I'm mixing together all of these flours, and it's turning the flour a lovely shade of, it looks like hot chocolate mix. Lovely shade of brown. A cocoa color, if you will. So I'm whisking together all of this powder, making sure it's somewhat homogeneous. I'm probably getting it all over myself. I'm lucky it's not all over the counter right now, that's all I can tell you. All right, so now I'm gonna pour in the half a cup of water and 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. And I have that here in this cup. And I'm gonna whisk that in as well. And as you can see here, I'm making a complete mess. And it's getting all caught up in my whisk, which tells me that I should be using my Danish dough whisk and not this whisk. So, all right, so finally I found the Danish dough whisk, and it says to add more water if necessary. And I think it's necessary because this is supposed to go to a pancake batter-like consistency. And right now I don't see that happening. All right, get this in here. It smells heavenly. It smells very chocolatey. I am getting an arm workout. This tells me that I should have put this in a food processor or a blender. Wow. But maybe not, since it started out so thick. Okay, I must have done something wrong, since I put in, I don't know how much water, and it's nowhere near a pancake-like consistency. I'm wondering what measurement is off and how that's gonna affect us. Okay, now I think I put too much water. Let me see. Well, the good news is it's more of a pancake-like consistency. Let me try something. Okay, I'm gonna try using a spatula instead of the dough whisk at this point. Gotta have the right tools for the job, right? Okay. This reminds me of cake batter, which means I'm at the right consistency. Although it may be still a teensy tiny bit thick. But I am loath to put in any more. Just make sure I get around any more water. And I'm doing this to make sure that if there's any flour on the bottom, that I'm getting it up. I think that's it. All right, so I'm gonna clean up a little bit. And then I'm gonna bring you over to the stove to see how I make these pancakes. Now, I'm supposed to fold in my frozen blueberries, which I have here. Actually, they just said blueberries. Mine just happen to be frozen, so hopefully that won't be an issue. It may have just been a typo in the recipe in terms of how much water or milk to add. But okay, we'll see. I'll be right back. All right, since I have a ton of coconut oil, not a ton, but quite a bit, like 2 or 3 jars, or portions of two or 3 jars to use up, I'm gonna go ahead and use some of that to make my pancakes. Coconut oil. All right, so it says to use a 1/3 cup measure, but as I've mentioned before, I was born without patience. And so I don't want to be here cooking pancakes until the end of Armageddon. So what I'm going to do is use a 1/2 cup measure for now. Kind of spread those out a little bit. And maybe do 2 per pot. And what I may do is whip out a second frying pan, which I have over here, and double up on these, just to make the process go faster. I may grab a larger frying pan. Let me see what I can do. Yep, I have a larger frying pan, so I'll do that. And act like I'm a short order cook. I don't know if you can see that. And actually make some more. So what I'll do is do this. And turn it on. That'll be helpful. And maybe turn this up a little bit. And so that we could actually make more. Now, I don't see any bubbles yet, so I'm not gonna try to flip them. The worst thing you could do is try to rush a pancake. Like, that's like not the smartest thing you could do. And trust me, if I could rush a pancake, I would rush a pancake. And you can see I'm not really big on making sure they're the same size or anything. I just want to get them cooked. I gotta say, they smell delicious and they look interesting. I don't think I've ever had chocolate pancakes before. So this will be not only a high protein breakfast, but it's also going to satisfy my sweet cravings, which is pretty cool. And I don't really have that many sweet cravings anymore because really I just crave chocolate from time to time. Because I haven't been eating as many sweets, since I've been on this journey. And it's interesting, the more white rice you eat, the more carbs you crave. The more rice you crave, for example, and the more sugar you eat, the more sugar you crave. When you stop eating as much sugar, or as much real sugar, you don't crave as much real sugar. So now that I eat things with like high fiber, lots of protein, my sugar cravings, I never really had massive sugar cravings. I mean, not like some women do, but they really reduce. Now, every once in a while, I really do crave or I could really have a taste for maybe a great cupcake. I mean, who can resist like a great cupcake? And if you put a cupcake in my face, I mean, I might eat it. I'm not saying, I'm over sugar, but I don't like think about it all the time. I don't feel deprived because I'm not eating it every day. And that's because I don't eat it every day. And so I don't have that craving. And I find that when I eat it, I could actually just eat one or two, as opposed to like scarfing down a 6-pack of cupcakes. Which don't tell me I'm the only person who's ever done that, because I don't know. That's a darn lie. My mother used to say, there are lies and there are damn lies. That would be a damn lie. Which I never really understood the difference, but so funny. Okay, so she was hilarious, by the way. She's no longer with us, but she was a very, very funny woman. All right, so we see it starting to percolate a little bit. And I'm hoping they hurry up, because I'm going to have to turn you off and bring you back. Because it's like watching, water boil, which is not cool. I'm starting to see some sizzle in both. I can get up under here. Ooh. All right. Not the best flip I ever did. In terms of them cooking, being all in the pot, but it didn't break. These are some like serious pancakes. They look a bit dense. But buckwheat always did that though. Even without the white wheat gluten, buckwheat was always a bit a heavier pancake. 2 of these are probably going to set me up for hours. And hours. Let me turn this down a little bit. I have a bad habit of not putting my pots on the eyes. Oh yeah. These are going to be cake-like pancakes. I mean, they're dense, but they're not like, but they're kind of fluffy. Like they're rising. Which shouldn't shock me because they have baking powder and baking soda. Ooh. And really, I should stop like slamming into the pots. I don't hurt myself. All right, so what I'm gonna do is let it cook a little tiny bit more, and then I'm taking them out and putting in the next ones. Yeah. All right, so I'm moving these off. So I'm gonna come back to you once these are all cooked up, and I'm going to do a taste test and show you how I fix them, okay? Okay, so here we have the pancakes and we're back in the working area. And what I'm gonna do is put some of this PB Fit on top, which is that powdered peanut butter that I told you about before, that has 70 calories and 9 grams of protein per 2 tablespoon serving. And that was pretty much 2 tablespoons because I did a heaping. Let me just make sure. All right. So I'm gonna put some water in here real quick. And I'm gonna mix it up. And it reconstitutes and smells like peanut butter it is. All right, so what it's got is defatted peanut butter, basically, and sugar. Not too much sugar, just a little tiny bit. And that little tiny bit actually makes it really palatable on things like this. So what I'm gonna do is actually get a knife and maybe a fork, since I'll be doing a taste test. Oh my goodness, and I got powder everywhere on the plate. And I'm gonna go ahead and spread the peanut butter like it's frosting on top of my chocolate blueberry pancakes. To me, these pancakes have three of my favorite things going for them. They have chocolate in them, they have blueberries, and they have protein. Because y'all know I'm a crazy maniac when it comes to getting enough protein in my diet. And if I can do it with something as flavorful as this, why the heck not, right? So I spread it out, and then I like to add some blueberries, which I nuked, by the way. This is hot as I don't know what, in the microwave. I nuked it for about a minute and a half, and it makes this blueberry compote. From frozen. I nuked it from frozen and it makes this blueberry compote. But I can go ahead and put on top of my... All right, so now that it looks like a birthday cake, I'm gonna go ahead and taste it. All right, so we got... And you can also add some regular syrup on here too, which I may end up doing because the bottom layer is kind of dry. Or without anything, naked, I should say, not dry. Because these don't feel dry. All right, so I'm gonna cut this and give it a taste test. I'm gonna get some of that blueberry in here. That is really good. Now, if you or your kids like your pancakes sweeter, don't use the sweeteners I use. Use real sugar or use more of the sweetener, right? So that it's sweeter. But other than that, this is delicious. It's got that chocolate. The pancakes they're a little bit dense, but they're cake-like. They're not like a vlog or anything, but they're definitely gonna fill me up for hours. Even though it's buckwheat, it still manages to taste light. And with all those flavors, the cacao powder, the sweetener, the peanut butter, it's a really delicious plate. So this gives you 4 servings of pancakes. You just divide whatever you cooked up equally into 4, and you have 4 meals for the week. And not only are they meals, but they are high protein meals that give you 37 grams of protein. So you get 380 calories, 449 grams of carbs, 37 grams of protein. That is really balanced to me. All right. So I've really been enjoying that breakfast, but the next thing you're gonna see me make is this protein granola. Oh my goodness gracious. That came out so good. I'm surprised it came out so good considering I almost forgot to add in the mix-ins. But that, I've been noshing off of that, for several days now, and I am a happy child eating that protein granola. So you're gonna see me make that next. All right, y'all, it's time to make some protein granola. And so I'm gonna start with this big old bag of oats that I have to use up. If you remember this in my first video. So I need 2 cups of oats. And unfortunately, this is a half cup measure, so I'll have to do this 4 times like a maniac. All right, so we got the 2 cups of oats in this big old white bowl. And I apologize for not using a clear bowl so you can see me mix it, but my clear bowl is occupied right now. All right, and so I need a half cup of protein powder. And I need to use up this whey protein powder I've had for way too long. Now you can use plant-based protein powder or any other kind of protein powder. It just should be vanilla. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this half cup of protein powder. All right. Now this is a protein granola, and it's the protein powder that's fueling the protein part of this program. Now, the recipe also calls for a third a cup of peanut butter and a quarter cup of maple syrup. It's a really simple recipe. It says maple syrup or honey. As you know, I'm low on maple syrup, but I have honey. As a matter of fact, I have a whole other bottle. And it tells you to put this in a microwave on 20-second spurts until it's liquefied. And that's what I did. So I'm pouring in the honey slash, and actually I didn't use peanut butter. Remember, I'm low on peanut butter. I have some, but not a lot. And I didn't want to use the peanut butter powder. So I'm using the almond butter that I have to use up. So if you recall, I had almond butter in my cabinet. And so I'm using this. All right, so now I'm mixing the ingredients. That's what it tells me to do. It tells you to thoroughly mix it. This protein granola only has 4 ingredients initially, and then you add in your add-ins. And your add-ins could be anything from pepitas or pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds, or they could be almonds, they could be raisins, combination of them. So you can have whatever add-ins you want. By the way, y'all, this smells amazing. I mean, between the sweetness of the honey with the almond butter and the vanilla protein powder, it smells amazing. Now, I'm making granola because I really, really enjoy granola. And I haven't had it for a while because normally it's just, high in sugar, high in calories, not very, it can be healthy for you, but it hadn't really given me enough bang for my buck to justify it. But with the protein powder in here, this recipe gives you 8 servings of granola. Each serving is 175 calories, and it gives you a whopping 22 grams of protein. Now this is worth the bang for the buck. I get to eat granola with maybe some soy milk or some pea protein milk, enjoy the heck out of it, and get 22 grams of protein to boot. I mean, it don't get better than that. And I mean that the split infinitives, it don't get better than that, okay? So I had to make this recipe. All right, so I'm in here mixing this, trying to make sure that each part of the oats gets some of this, some of the wet mixture, just to make sure it bakes properly. Now it tells me that I'm preheating the oven, by the way, at 350. And it says mix well until fully incorporated, and then transfer the granola mixture onto a lined baking tray and spread out in an even layer. So, and then I need to remove the granola halfway through to stir. All right, so the oven has reached the temperature of 350. You can hear it there. And I am now getting my baking tray and transferring the granola mixture onto the baking tray. Try to make sure it's fully incorporated. I'm probably gonna have to play with it a little bit. I'm just gonna scrape up all the yum-yums from the bottom of the bowl. Okay. And I'm gonna get in here with my hands and get all this off of here. Clean hands, of course, in my kitchen. All right, so I'm gonna even this out. Make sure everything's fully incorporated. Feels amazing. I can't believe this is 8 servings. But knowing me, I'll probably make it 4 servings and call it a lifetime. And get 44 grams of protein in me for like 350 calories. Like, who cares, right? I mean, that's worth it. All right, so that's a seriously efficient protein bang for your buck. All right, so I am pressing this out flat to make sure it's an even layer. And then I'm gonna go ahead and place this in the oven and flip it halfway through. I'll come back to you when the granola is done. All right. All right, so now I'm removing the granola from the oven. Ooh. And truth be told, I forgot to mix it halfway. I have to remind myself to do things like that, and I should have set a timer, but I didn't. So I'm gonna mix it now in the hopes that it's okay. And maybe stick it back in the oven just for like 5 minutes. Smells heavenly. Just breaking it up a little bit. It actually feels pretty well cooked throughout. I might not stick it back in the oven. It looks pretty homogeneous to me. So I think what I'm just gonna do is do what it says. Let it cool completely, and then we're gonna give this a taste. All right? Protein granola. We'll come back to you then. Okay, so the granola has completely cooled down here, and it's time to do a taste test. This is really good. I mean, like, sinfully good. Oh my goodness. My mouth is watering. Okay, so I would say this is a huge success. It says to store this, it should be at room temperature. So I'm gonna put these into like glass containers that are sealed tight. And I'm gonna keep it on my counter basically. And then whenever I wanna make, or in my cabinet, and whenever I wanna make, I'm making it into like 4 servings. Whatever it is I wanna make cereal or something, I can go ahead and have some. This is amazing. You've got to try this. I can't stop eating it. Okay. The reason why I'm over here crunching is because I'm about ready to add in the mix-ins. And I had to taste them to make sure they were still good. So as y'all know, I was happy with this granola with no mix-ins whatsoever. But it says you're supposed to add in a 1/4 cup of mix-ins of your choice. I mean, a cup of mix-ins of your choice. So I'm adding a 1/4 cup of these dry slivered almonds by Trader Joe's. They're unsalted, they're toasted, and they're unsalted, and they're dry toasted. So that means toasted without oil. And because these are delicious still, I'm gonna put this and the other pack in my freezer to make sure they last even longer. I didn't realize, I mean, I know their nuts can go rancid, but I didn't realize that I had them in there for so long and I wasn't sure if they were still good. I'm also gonna add these Minu Mindful Nutrition Organic Sultana Golden Raisins. That's what I'm adding here. So I'm adding those. And I'm actually gonna add, because I do like my granola sweet. I mean, somewhat sweet. Or naturally sweet, let's put it that way. I'm adding a 1/2 cup of the raisins. I'm also gonna add these sprouted pumpkin seeds, or pepitas, that I had. I've had these in my cabinet for the longest time. Let's see if they're okay. They pass the smell test. And they pass the taste test. I'm also gonna throw these in the freezer too. So these are sprouted pumpkin seeds with a touch of sea salt. So I'm adding in a 1/4 teaspoon of that. Now, this granola was already badass before I even put the mixes in here. But with the mixings, it's gonna be fabulous. Look at this. If you could smell this, you'd be amazed. All right. So now let's taste it with all the mix-ins. I got a nice little handful here with a little bit of everything in here. Let's do a bigger piece of the granola, all right? Let's taste it. It is crunchy. It is flavorful. It's not too sweet. It's got the hint of salt from the pepitas. Or sunflower seeds. You have got to make this. No lie. All right, so it's probably gonna fit into 2 of these bad boys. So I'm gonna go ahead and repack it and have it available. I got a feeling it's gonna be granola for dessert. Protein granola for dessert. All right, y'all. Now, after the chicken, the white chicken chili dish actually ended, it was so good I can't even speak straight. I had to cook something else. So what I did was I made a stir fry. And the stir fry came out really well, and I've been enjoying that too. I still have some servings left, so I'm pretty happy about that. And last but not least, I tried to do an experiment. And you know, the definition of experiments is sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, right? This time I definitely lost. And don't sign off this video without watching this failed experiment that I did. I tried to make a gluten-free flour baking mix based off of like Victoria's Keto Kitchen. It was her recipe on YouTube. And I did it her old way, and I must have done something wrong. I don't know if I didn't put the flour together properly, or if I, did something wrong when I know I did something wrong when I was making the pizza. I decided the dough was too wet, and I would add a whole bunch more flour, and that definitely did not work. It's so. But anyway, you want to see my baking misadventures? Watch this. Okay, well, today appears to be the day for experimenting. And right now, I'm going to be experimenting with the flour that I was supposed to make when I was supposed to make that bread that I talked about in my very first video. And these are the weird flours that I have. Now, this recipe, she changed it after I downloaded it the first time. And now she's calling for bamboo fiber, which I don't have, and which I think sounds a little bit too strange even for me. So she says that we can substitute with oat fiber. And she wants us to have 3 cups of the oat fiber. So I don't know if I have, well, I have flour all over me, but definitely no. But I don't know if I have 3 cups in here, so let's see. If we don't, then what I'm gonna do is have the recipe. So this is a 1/2 cup measure. Oh, damn it. Sorry. Didn't mean to cuss on film. We're supposed to weigh this out, so I need to like zero out the bowl. Okay. So let's try this again. It's a 1/2 cup. That's 1 cup. Yeah, we're gonna make it. It's 2 cups. And remember, this is oat fiber, not oat flour. So don't think you can just grind up some oats. And this is 3 cups. All right, so we have 3 cups of oat fiber. So we passed the laugh test, so that's good. Now we need, I need an apron, that's a whole other issue. Now we need almond flour. And we know that I have almond flour. I have tons of almond flour. So let's see what we can do. How much do we need? We need 1.5 cups. Our new recipe is calling for pecan flour, but we can use almond flour. So that's 1 cup. It's about a half cup. Okay. Just in case. All right, so we did that. Now, I get to use this crazy egg white protein powder that I didn't buy for any other reason but to do her recipe. So, I don't know why we're putting in egg white protein powder, but it's a whole other issue. Why we haven't put in like regular eggs, or maybe it's just the protein that they need. One thing I do know is that this is pretty hard to get into. Okay. And apparently I've used it before. Egg white protein powder. So we need a half a cup of this. So I think what I'm gonna do is use this quarter cup measure so I don't mess up, contaminate the protein powder with other stuff. All right, so that's a half a cup. It's a lot of flour in here, y'all. All right, and all over my counter. Next, we're gonna do xanthan gum, which I don't have. So I heard that you can replace xanthan gum with psyllium husk. So let's hope that's right. Let's hope this is not one substitution too many. You know how that goes? You substitute so many things that you're not even making the same recipe. All right, so this is, I can never tell. It's because it's white and the print is white. Okay, this is, I believe, 1 teaspoon. All right, so that's 1 teaspoon of psyllium husk, which I'm substituting for the xanthan powder, which is called for in this recipe. You should have seen me yesterday searching for some xanthan gum, but I didn't have it, and I thought I had it. I could have sworn I had it. All right. The funny thing is, I didn't even go by the measurements. I went by what she said the measurements would equate to, like a maniac. So what I'm doing in here is I'm whisking together this flour, which is supposed to be 1-to-1 baking mix, basically, of this is a standard keto flour, and it's also gluten-free, and it's supposed to be a 1-to-1 baking mix. And we're gonna put this baking mix to the test today. All right, so this is me taking my Danish whisk, and I'm whisking in the flours to make sure that everything is evenly distributed. In case you're wondering, because you can't see what I'm doing here, so all of this is my gluten-free baking mix, baking flour. Now, it still needs yeast or baking powder because it doesn't have any of that in here, and they didn't tell me to put any in here. Just says, let me just double check the ingredients. Okay, so for bamboo, we put the oat fiber. For almond flour, we had almond flour. We had egg white protein powder, and we have this psyllium husk. All right, so now we're gonna put this to the test. So what I'm doing is a pizza recipe. And I just turned on the oven, which I meant to do before. And for this pizza recipe, this gluten-free yogurt pizza crust, we're supposed to use 1 cup of gluten-free 1-to-1 baking powder. So I'm taking 1 cup out of here. I'm putting it in here. Then we're supposed to put 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, which of course I did not take out. Teaspoons of baking powder, okay. And then it says, since I don't have to do math anymore, since I don't have to have the recipe over that, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And a sprinkle of garlic powder. And because I like my pizza to taste like something, I'm also gonna put some oregano, maybe 1/4 teaspoon. Okay. So I'm going to take these ingredients. I'm going to take my little Danish dough whisk, and I'm going to whisk them together. And this is me. I should have sifted the baking powder. I'm hoping I don't get like pieces of bitter baking powder in my pizza, because that would annoy the heck out of me. Now we have to put in 3/4 of a cup of plain yogurt, Greek yogurt. So I have this Greek yogurt that I had in my refrigerator, and actually I think it's expired. So let's make sure. I know I should have done this first, but make sure it's okay. If it's not, we're in trouble. Ooh. All right, it looks okay to me. And it smells like yogurt. I think we're good to go. All right, so what I'm gonna do is mix this a little bit. But there's not even a lot of water on top. It's really in good shape. Probably because I never opened it. All right, and I know that dry measures but I don't really care. And web measures are slightly different. But I'm really too lazy to go find my other cup, so we're just gonna do this. All right. And if it seems like it's not working, I'll just add a little bit more, is what I'm gonna do. All right, so what I'm gonna do is put this in here for now. Give myself the tiniest bit of breathing room and try to incorporate this using my little spatula. These rubber spatulas come in really handy. Ooh, as I get flour everywhere. Come in really handy. Oh. Oh, wow. Okay. And what I'm doing is trying to make sure there's no more flour on the bottom, because this dough feels kind of wet to me. It feels more like a pancake dough than a, than a dough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some more flour. I added like almost half a cup more, because that's how it felt to me. Okay, this is harder to do. And that's pretty much the way it should be when you're doing a dough for a pizza. Like, I'm gonna have to get in here with my hands, which is what you would expect. And all this probably means that I should have followed the, actually used the wet measure for the yogurt. All right, so let me get in here with my hands. Actually, before I do that, let me clean up a little bit. Okay, I couldn't even think straight with all the clutter that was around me before, so this is much better. So what I'm gonna do is toss like a little bit of this flour onto my dough mat. Then I'm gonna toss, oh, you can see it's still a little bit of flour on the bottom. I'm gonna toss this dough onto here so I can work with it. And before I touch it, I'm going to grab a dough cutter. All right. Now this dough still feels rather wet to me. So what I'm gonna do is take some flour and knead it in there. As I make a complete mess. All right. I got most of the flour up in here. So the good news is it's not sticking. All right, now supposedly this makes 4 like 6-inch pizzas, which I don't know how it would, but you know, hey. So we're going to divide it into 4 even pieces, as if I could ever divide anything evenly. And what I'm gonna do is take 3 of those pieces and put them away, or put them to the side for now. And I think I'm gonna freeze them, or at least put them in the refrigerator. I think I might put them in the refrigerator and see if it still works tomorrow. That way I can let you know if it works. Now, how I thought I was gonna make a pizza without my roller, I will never know. Okay, so here's my roller. Let's see what we can do. As I try to roll this out, ooh, it's not pliable. It's sticking. It's sticking to the mat, let's put it that way. It's not sticking to the roller yet. Well, now it is. Oh, jeez. And you know what? This is not large enough. Let me do this. Oh, jeez. Yep, this might be a failed experiment. Let me try this again. Let me put even more flour in here and make this less of a wet dough. Well, it smells good at least. It's starting to feel better. And actually, when she made it in a mixing machine, a stand mixer with a dough hook. So, and I didn't do any kneading of this dough. So maybe that's it, I don't know. I'm trying to remedy that now. Now it's feeling more like Play-Doh. Oof. Okay. Let's put some more on here. All right. Now it's starting to get dry, so I need to shape it and go about my business. Basically. All right, so let me try it again. to have it. You can see I get real quiet when I'm concentrating. And when I bake, I have to concentrate because I'm not a natural baker. Okay, as you can tell from this failed experiment. All right, I still need more dough. Let me try this. Sometimes instead of kneading it or whatever, instead of rolling it, it makes more sense to just shape it with your hands, I find, at least for me anyway. I told you there will be adventures in baking. You tell me. Oh, I just threw dough on the floor. Lovely. You tell me if this is not the craziest thing you've ever seen. If you're a baker, you're probably like, what is she doing? And the answer is, she does not know. So she is determined to make this, I'm talking about myself in the third person like a maniac, a pizza because she's hungry and she doesn't want to waste all this flour. Oh. And I really don't want to have to go out and buy bamboo flour because who the heck eats bamboo flour? Apparently people do. All right, I'm going to try to transfer this, don't ask me how, to a baking sheet. Like a maniac and see what happens. I don't know about this baking mix. Now the guy I saw do this on highfalutin low carb or something like that, he actually used it to make biscuits. But he did it with the bamboo flour. Okay, I'm having a heck of a time. Let me try this. Getting it off the sheet. Huh. I have no idea what this is going to taste like or what the consistency is going to be, but we shall see. In the meantime, I'm going to put the rest of this away so this is going in the oven at 400 degrees for 8 minutes, and then I'll come back to you and I'm going to give you a report before we put on any toppings, okay? See you soon. All right, y'all, this feels more like a cracker. Well, actually, it looks more like a cracker than it does a crust, but it feels dough-like. So it actually rose up a little bit. What I'm going to do is slide it off onto this plate. Let me see if I can taste this piece. It came up. It's crumbling. And it's a little dry. I probably should have trusted the recipe and not put so much flour in it. I would say this is a fail. You win some, you lose some. So I'm not gonna put my toppings on here because that'd be a waste of some good toppings. Yeah, it's dry. I'm not gonna use this as a pizza crust. I'm gonna try it again at some point and maybe do it the way they said to do it, and maybe leave the dough in the bowl for like 5 minutes to rest to see if it'll soak up more of that yogurt on its own. Luckily, I have plan B for lunch. Plan B is going to be another chicken salad sandwich. I changed my mind this week. I was not in the mood to go ahead and cook, chicken enchiladas. So I went ahead and turned that chicken into chicken salad. And the interesting thing is, when I cook chicken salad, some people use like different seasonings in it. I like to use marjoram. So this is not a normal spice that you would normally put in chicken salad. What happened was, it was a happy mistake. I actually made somebody's recipe, and they called for something I didn't have. And I grabbed the marjoram thinking that was what it was supposed to be, and I put it in the chicken salad, and it was absolutely delicious. So just like you would add some other spice besides marjoram, you definitely add your salt, your pepper, and whatever else you normally season it with. But instead of any other greenery, I would use marjoram instead. Give it a try, like a teaspoon, and see how you like it. The taste actually goes really well. I know what it was. I was supposed to put tarragon in my chicken salad. I didn't have tarragon, so I used marjoram instead. And it was delicious, and I've done it that way ever since. So I'm gonna have chicken salad sandwich for lunch. And we're gonna call this chalking it up, right, to learning. All right. What can I tell you, y'all? I'm a little crazy. I'm a little obsessive. I like to experiment. It didn't work. I'm not giving up, okay? I'm gonna figure out what I did wrong and fix that. But in the meantime, we're gonna move on. So next week it's gonna be actually more of a international type feel. I'm actually gonna make a Haitian spaghetti. Now, you're probably looking at me like I have two heads and going, okay, you're making spaghetti. What's the big deal? Well, Haitians do it differently, and they have their own green seasoning type thing, and they have their own way of making the spaghetti. And so I'm going to try this Haitian spaghetti. And the reason why I'm doing it is because my stepfather's Haitian, and I grew up with him from 13 on, and I still call him daddy. And he just moved back to Florida, South Florida, from Haiti. He had moved to Haiti and decided to move back. He and my mother broke up years ago, but I still consider him to be his second dad. So my mother, used to cook his food. I told you she could burn in 5 different cultures. She really used to make amazing Haitian food. And so I'm going to give this a try, the Haitian spaghetti. She never made this dish, but I'm going to give it a try because I actually enjoy it when I order from restaurants. So that's going to be on the menu. Also on the menu is going to be the 13 beans and ham soup. So I didn't make the ham soup this week because I was already making the white chicken chili and I thought that was enough beans. But I'm going to do the 13 bean and ham soup. So you're going to see that. And I'm also going to make this, my next experiment, this protein loaf. So wait till you see. And this protein loaf doesn't have any like protein powders or anything. It's made from all natural ingredients. So there's no vital wheat gluten in there per se. I mean, whatever, but you'll see. All right. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And listen, I want to thank you so much because my channel is almost at 400 subscribers. When I first started this journey, I was at like 130, I think. And I didn't have the watch time that I'm getting now. And I didn't have the support and the love that you all have been showing me. And it really does inspire me to try harder, to make more engaging content, and to do things to entertain and educate. Hopefully I've succeeded. Anyway, but thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for providing your comments. They've been really helpful. Just thank you so much in general. Take care.